Good morning, everyone. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. It is about 10:43 on a Tuesday, so hope everyone's doing good. Pretty good, gray and overcast day today. But yeah, I just uploaded or actually, I just uploaded a few minutes ago. I did a really awesome interview with writer director Asif Akbar. He just released a brand new movie entitled Skeletons in the Closet. It stars Cooper Gooding Jr. and Terrence Howard. He's a real interesting guy right now working in Hollywood. He has made a lot of independent films, but now he's kind of emerging to where he's starting to work, on these big kind of budget Hollywood films. And I've known him, and we've been in contact for a few years, and so we finally were able to do the interview yesterday. And I tried to focus on, I mean, not only trying to focus on his career and his projects that he's doing currently, but I wanted to really kind of dive into, maybe a perspective that you don't normally hear all that much from interviews with directors or people involved with film, of where it's usually about that current product and just about the actual film, and the kind of more or less the perspective from kind of the outside of outside of the film industry. So I wanted to try to dive into, with this interview, I wanted to try to dive into from his perspective, from the director's chair, what it's like to make a movie and all of those variables, all of the different complex situations that you have to be involved in. So I was pretty happy with it. He was a great guest, and so check it out. I just uploaded it, and yeah, comment. Let me know what you think. Very exciting. That is something I don't do enough, as far as but I love it more probably than any other aspect. It's harder to do because scheduling and whatnot. I had a lot of technical issues when I first started doing interviews in the beginning, but I think a lot of those things are now sorted out. So, but anyway, I'm very, very excited about this video. So please check it out. And I, you know, feedback is greatly appreciated. And thanks again to Asif Akbar. So today's show is going to be on a writer also and a director, and a movie that he also was just involved. As far as his involvement in the movie, he was just the writer. And that movie is Judge Dredd, or I should say Dredd. It came out in 2012. It is, of course, based on the comic book Judge Dredd. Honestly, one of my favorite comic book characters of all time. Total, ultra violence, all about this kind of post apocalyptic scenario. And it's always been, Judge Dredd has always been one of my favorite characters. It's always about this kind of dystopian future where, the military, well, really the rise and the complete collaboration and unison, if you will, between the military and the national government, for that matter. And there's like this police state is created, and so brutality is a way of life. And so there was a Judge Dredd movie that came out many, many years ago, which is really terrible, that starred Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. Really bad. And it's actually, the comic books, Judge Dredd, the comic books themselves have always been really brutal and very graphic, but very, like I said, it really deals with a lot of dystopian, uh, topics. It really dives deeply into the idea of, fascism, a police state, police brutality, and it's set way into the future. So there's this incredible science fiction element, that original version that starred Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone, which came out many, many years ago, was very highly sanitized. It was not very. It didn't really dive into the, well, for the most part, the social ramifications of living in a society like that, or especially the brutality was not at all. The violence was not at all a part of that movie. It was kind of made into this strange family movie in a weird way. But this film that I'm talking about today, which is called Dread, is just an amazing film. I'm going to go up to, well, my plan this week is to go up to Bull Moose on Saturday and to track this movie down. It's a movie I don't own. I have seen many times. I've rented it. I don't believe I've ever seen it on Blu-ray. I've rented it quite a few times on DVD through Opera House Video, and I just love this movie. This movie's also directed, or I should say, written by one of my favorite directors, one of my favorite people, period, in Hollywood, and that is Alex Garland. Alex Garland, I just think, is so damn talented on so many fronts. He is an incredible director. He's an incredible writer. He's also an author. He's written many books. He is just such a great force, and he's directed some amazing films. Ex Machina, Annihilation with Natalie Portman, and then he just recently did last year another film called Men. He wrote the screenplay for Dread, and it completely, Alex Garland has a very specific kind of style. It's his A lot of his work is kind of, well, it's very visceral, it's very cerebral, it's very brutal, and also outside of the box. It's very abstract. He will take different perspectives. Like, for instance, when he directed Ex Machina, I mean, the writing is so brilliant. Essentially, that film is basically two or three characters trapped in this house. And it does have action, but it's really dialogue driven. And it has such a unique perspective, and many perspectives, about, AI technology, for instance. And that movie, in a lot of ways, is very prophetic, because, that movie came out quite a few years ago, and now AI is this regular thing now that we're dealing with on a almost daily basis, as far as copyrights and the how it's affecting the entertainment business. It's wild, and it's growing at such a rapid rate that it's the technology around it is growing so fast and furious that it's literally hard to keep up with. And and his films, like taking that subject, for instance, with AI, he brought all of these different perspectives and viewpoints of that technology, and the social kind of ramifications, or the social fallout, if you will, if those things emerge to a point of where they essentially take over. Brilliant. It's just a brilliant film. Amazing writing, and so he wrote this film in 2012. It came out quite a few years ago. It was directed by Pete Travis. But this movie, Dread, is just completely amazing. I mean, it's literally the perfect kind of tribute to Judge Dredd, the comic book character. It like perfectly captures the universe, the aesthetic. It's brutal as all hell. It's a very psychedelic movie too. It has lots of elements of where a lot of these characters are taking these pills that are this form of they're a hallucinogenic drug, and so that's part of the film. So it has a very psychedelic kind of quality, and it's really brutal. But it also, like I said, like what Alex Garland does best is he's not afraid to tackle serious social issues, and he does that with this movie. But he doesn't do it in a way of where it's I don't know, preachy or judgmental, or he doesn't get into a thing of preaching to the choir, establishing his opinion, and then trying to garner the story or the film to those other people that he feels are his, like-minded people. He doesn't do that, and so he's just incredible. He has a new movie coming out, which kind of spawned the interest of doing this movie. A new movie coming out called Civil War that he directed, and he also wrote, I believe, and it looks pretty incredible. It looks brutal and a very topical story, if you will. Something that we have been going through as a society very long for a while, or for a long time, but the last few years these things have come to the surface. But it's an amazing film. My goal is to try to go to Bull Moose on Saturday. My goal is to go to Bull Moose on Saturday and to look for Judge Dredd or Dredd on Blu-ray. I've never seen Dredd on Blu-ray, and I've been really wanting to see it, and because I love that movie so much. And I think the way the film is shot, the whole kind of presentation, to see it on Blu-ray, I'm sure is going to be like just totally spectacular. Like I said before, I've only seen it on DVD, and it's a really great visually. It's just a gorgeous film, and I've gotten it like at Opera House Video, but I've never seen it on Blu-ray, and I don't own it. But it's such an awesome movie. It comes up a lot for me. I talk a lot of the times in passing or whatever. I'll talk about movies with people, obviously, and then a lot of the times I find myself talking about Alex Garland. He's very well known, but not known at all at the same time. It's kind of odd. So I have always recommended his films, his work, anything that he touches basically is golden. Most people are. I have come across lots of people that might not recognize his name, Alex Garland, by itself, but most people I have come in contact with, or it comes up here and there, they are aware, or they have seen Ex Machina and also Annihilation. Those movies were both very popular. They had a lot of press, a lot of publicity behind them, and they were very much embraced by critics, and they're both masterpieces. I own both of those films on Blu-ray, and they are just classics. I don't own Men. I've only seen Men once. I really like that movie. It's a very trippy movie, like most of his work. I do want to get it eventually, but I really, really want to get Dredd. So very excited about that. So when I pick it up, I will do, probably do an additional or a second video on that movie. So thanks again. This is Jason Dean of Film Fanatic. So check out the new interview with Asif Akbar, and stay tuned for some more things coming down the pike. Peace out.